Hello and welcome to Happy Foot, Sad Foot, your LAFC gateway drug and the only LAFC podcast that had to start late because one of them wanted to watch the Boston Celtics. I'm Travis Helwig.
Oh, fuck.
I'm Vince LaRosa, not the Celtics fan.
Welcome to our LA-specific podcast featuring Boston sports fan Darren Miller. Let's keep going, Darren.
I'm Darren Miller. I'm sorry. As usual, apologizing for being a Boston sports fan. Welcome to another beautiful double preview episode of LAFC's MLS match versus Minnesota United FC on Wednesday, May 29th at 7:45 p.m. and on Saturday, June 1st at 7:30 p.m. versus FC Dallas. Both are at BMO Stadium. Both are on MLS Season Pass and on Apple TV Plus. And the Minnesota match is also the free match there and available on FS1 as well. And we'll be live streaming our post-game call and show 10 minutes after the whistle of both matches at youtube.com/@HappyFootSadFoot.
Later in the show, we'll dig deeper into Dallas and Minnesota to find out which is which. And we'll look at storylines for the match and make some bets. But first, it was a long weekend, so that must mean something. It's time for listener-mandated banter. How you doing? How was everyone's Memorial Day weekend, or MDW, as some people say? I feel like MDW has crept into the lexicon in a way that I don't feel comfortable with.
I thought you just made that up.
No, I think it's like, oh man, I think 3-day weekends are a big thing for like boating communities in New England, you know? And I feel like MDW has like crept and also like, I feel like conservatives in the South also love 3-day week. It's just like, how can we drink as much as possible and not think we have a problem? And that's a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
Anyways, MDW, I don't feel comfortable with.
100%.
Yeah.
Travis, can I just say that my mother texted me after the game that I took off, and I appreciate you guys for allowing me to just like take some time off. But to Jeff Talk's point about this being a comedy podcast and how it's not, she actually asked me, "Are you in jail? Are you okay?"
Oh no.
And
for
Mom,
those of you who didn't hear,
no, I'm so sorry.
We did mention that Vince was on trial for vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah, mom, who has since I've told her I'm fine. No, it's a joke. We do comedy here. That was interesting. That was fun. Thank you guys for that. That was actually pretty awesome because I actually didn't even watch the game live. First time in a long time I did not watch an LAFC
Feels
game
nice
live.
to take a day off.
Oh, guys. Can
Yeah.
I mean, and I know that like
What was it like?
by saying this is not what we're saying to our core fan base, but like try it. Just
Oh,
try
no.
it. It was
Literally the
awesome.
opposite.
But still watch the post game, even if you haven't.
Yeah,
seen.
watch the post game because you
Possibly.
can get a lot out of it. I'll say this for the game, for the type of game that I could have taken off. Wow. When I went back and watched it, things happened. I will say for the fans that maybe I read your comments, don't understand what game you watched, but I watched it after the live fact and it was interesting and it was a really fun game, but also
We were
Ironically,
saying
it was a very Vincey game. I'll call it.
for sure.
yes, it was definitely. I actually felt bad for you guys a little bit watching it back, being like, "Oh, I probably should have been on that Bows game." But again, so happy that my mom thought may have been in trouble and didn't reach out right after the post game. Waited until I believe the next day to be like, "You're not in jail, right?" And no, I'm not.
I like that she heard it, assumed it was a joke, and then it just sort of stuck with her where she was like, I should make sure. I should double check that he's not on trial for vehicular manslaughter.
Because if anyone knows my son better than me, it's Travis.
Yeah. The guy, the man in California who's teaching him evil things.
Yes.
Could be. Well, I'm so happy she still watched the show, at least until that point.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank God she didn't. When I didn't show up,
he's a
she
big
didn't
fan
just
of
turn it off. She stayed around. She checked it out. Which
maybe she's not listening for you, Vince. Maybe.
I was about to turn around and say just how that means how good the show is, but fine, Travis. Fine.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
She's not listening for me.
Big Travis fan is all I'll say.
And who isn't?
Thank you so much for spelling that one out.
You know who isn't? Travis.
That's the only stumbling block we're running into.
That's a real downside.
I got to complain about something real quick before we start the show. I got this Pride jersey. I thought it looked really cool online. It is the least flattering kit I've ever gotten. It looks like in person, it's impossible to look good in it. And the photos looked cool on the internet, but I don't think I'll ever wear it again. I wore it today and I'm just like, yeah, I'm an ally of the queer community, not in shirt form. I am no longer an ally in shirt form.
Well, not that shirt, maybe. I don't know.
No, I now think all queer
You're writing
shirts
off all
look bad
apparel?
on me. I don't know. It
doesn't
just
look-
looks like shit.
It's the same one for every team, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which is fine. That's
It doesn't
fine.
look great.
It looks boxy. Like, look how boxy it is.
I think it
Actually-
looks fine on you. I think the design is a little.
Yeah. Well,
Meh.
I wouldn't critique the silhouette that you're creating with it.
Yeah.
What I would critique is if I squint really hard, where is the LGBTQ
Yes,
plus?
it is
what
an oil spill.
Yeah,
kit.
what is the
Yeah.
thing about it that makes it endearing to that community? And I would say, Adidas, did you have anybody from that community helping design this kit? It's a great kit for LAFC because all the kits are, by the way, black and
Black
gold
and gold.
striped. The stripes that Travis has
interesting.
on his shoulders are not just the kit for LAFC. It's actually for everyone, which is funny because in years past, teams or LAFC could even complain, hey, these are very similar to Galaxy colors. Well, guess what? You got your wish. And was that,
Yeah.
think about it, was that what we really wanted? Was that the wish that we needed for these things?
I'm curious if it'll be for the actual people watching back, but on my camera right now, it's like interlacing on it. Like it's so confusing to the camera that
Mhm.
it's like creating digital lines on it. Do you guys see that?
I
Yeah,
don't
you
see
look
that.
you look like you're in some kind of weird like superhero vortex. and
Yeah, like
it's gonna
Max
create something
Headroom.
new. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we got to it all. Vince is in jail. He got off for vehicular manslaughter with a warning, but that family,
With a
of course,
Yeah.
lost someone very near and dear to them. So all
Well, Darren, you know this better than anyone. I don't want to talk about an ongoing investigation,
Oh, right.
but I will
Uh,
say, how fucking dare you?
I don't think we're supposed to be talking about this.
Oh yeah, Darren's my lawyer actually as well, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
Yeah,
I mean, I
unlicensed.
did a flawless job, I think.
Yeah,
I
he's
told
doing
you I'd
okay.
get you off. I got you off.
He got up and said something habeas corpus and thought that we would be okay, and here we are.
Yeah.
I feel like you can win any argument by saying habeas corpus.
I don't even
People
know
are
what it
like, I don't-
means.
It's like your right to a fair try. I don't know. Let's start the show.
I think it's maybe we should talk about soccer.
I have a master's. Let's keep going.
All right. Well, as a post-casual LAFC fan, I'm watching every league match. I'm watching every U.S. Open Cup match. I'm keeping up with these 2 a weeks, but I'll be honest, I'm keeping up barely. And I grew up as a highly skilled fat kid on every sports team, so this is a familiar feeling for me. It's a good enough thing that it's still worth the
Highly
effort, but
skilled fat kid.
yeah, that's a type.
The only
But-
part that really hit me was the keeping up barely with the highly skilled fat kid.
Yeah.
That's on me.
It's a good enough thing that it's still worth the effort, but you miss some of the experience when you need to pull over during warm-up laps to have an asthma attack real quick. Well, now I'm a highly skilled fat adult, and between matches, I'm working a job and taking light physical and emotional abuse from tiny children
Skilled in
and
what?
an aging dog full-time. Getting through intros despite interruptions, sir. Luckily, my friend Travis, the human LAFC crazy wall, never got distracted by such cliches, and between matches, he stays focused on all the LAFC stats, tactics, roster moves, injuries, transfer rumors, conspiracy theories, and vital memes, so that he can give me and all of you the most important storylines beneath the surface of each week's match, so we can enjoy them so much more in a segment we call Storylines.
Darren, Vince, Dince, I come to you on this Memorial Day proper, MDW, to remind you once again,
Gross.
we have 2 games this week. But unlike our other 2 games, yeah, and that's our show. Thank you for listening.
By the way, I should not have given you shit for interrupting me. I do that every single time to you.
Well, that's what a podcast is. You just kind of you talk at each other, and then
I'm also
occasionally-
here, Matt.
we're lucky that anyone listens to this. But unlike our other 2 game weeks, both of these games will be MLS League games for a Western Conference that is a tight table at the top, a tight top table.
Tight
Oh.
table.
Tight top
Tight
table.
top.
That's a
tight at the
lot
top.
of
Table
alliteration.
tight at the
Really
top.
tight table at top.
Tight table at the top, a tight top table.
Tight top
But that's
table.
not tight top table. That's not the only thing that will look different this week, which brings us to our first storyline of the match week, that's the first time I've ever said match week. What do you
I
think?
like
Do
it.
you guys like it?
Yeah.
That's our first storyline of the match week, which is this. How will we look without Ilie and Atuesta? On Saturday, Atuesta picked up a red card near the end of our match with Atlanta, meaning he must sit out this Wednesday's game against Minnesota. The game previous, our captain and occasional liker of our Instagram, Ilie Sanchez, went down with a leg injury that kept him from even traveling to Atlanta. Now, the tight turnaround between
Tight turnaround
games.
at the top of the table.
Stop.
Tight turnaround for the tight table at the top of the table between games
Top of the
makes
week.
me top of the morning to ya to the Boston Celtics.
Tough Tuesday.
Terrible
Taco Tuesday?
Betty Butter bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter will make Betty's bitter batter better. But the tight turnaround between games makes me think that we will most likely not see Ilie on Wednesday either. Or maybe if we get really lucky for 15 minutes or so at the end of the match. We've spent so much time this season, talking about how Atuesta and Ilie are not necessarily meshing super well in the midfield. And then we got one game of them meshing super well in the midfield. And now we will see neither of them play. Vince, Darren and I tried to talk about it on the post game, but neither one of us knows what soccer is. What do you think our midfield will look like this coming Wednesday? What are the changes we'll see from the team?
To start, Travis deciding when Ilie does not play is never a good sign. So he very much could be
He's gonna start.
He's gonna start. He could start. He probably could. And on a lot of times, honestly, an away game like Atlanta is a perfect time to say, "Hey, just take a break. Don't travel with
That's
us. Recuperate. We've got games
true.
coming up." And especially when you think of, look, they got what they did from Atlanta, and thank goodness they did. And that's great for LAFC. It's great for their outlook. It's great for just everything, obviously going into them being so poor on the road, and now they're decent. But if you're Steve Trundle and you're like, okay, Ilie can maybe go in Atlanta on turf, or he could be better playing at home. We were great. So I would say that. I would say
interesting.
I would say there's a good chance that Steve was saving him for that. However, if he does not go, yes, things start to get a little hairy, because as much as we've talked about Atuesta and Ilie being somewhat similar in certain ways and not always being compatible, how does Tillman and Bogusz work if you're going to do this 3-4-3 thing that they did in Atlanta, which I kind of liked in that regard? How does Duenas, Bogusz, Tillman work? That doesn't put a lot of confidence in me. So I think that there's solutions, but it may be, again, them moving some pieces around to do some things, because right now the pieces that are left are not compelling for starting a match and playing a majority of the match.
Now, you said Bogusz Tillman as most likely the new starting center mid pairing. If we do again with Campos and Palencia playing on the wings of the midfield, who then slots in the front? Because Kai Kamara also is injured right now. Who becomes our striker in that moment? Angel? Do we start Tomas Angel?
He scored a goal in his first start. I mean, that's good. I mean,
and that's all we talked about it.
Yeah, he's come under a lot of fire on this show. Not about that, but
yeah, we didn't say anything else about him. You're right, and again, that's why when I thought about what Steve was putting together and Ilie not traveling, when I saw Kamara out too, I was like, maybe he's just kind of being like, look, we'll take what we can get on the road. We haven't been great on the road, and maybe we can get something from it, but maybe we just really prioritize 2 games at home. I hope. I think we all have to kind of hope that's the thinking, and that's where at least the health is at. But you're right. I guess it's Angel. Maybe Kamara's back. It's just the pieces don't really fit together. But this is This is MLS. If you're going to say, like, you're hearing me hedge my bets and move things around, you're like, oh, fucking LAFC, same old LAFC. No, there's no MLS team that would lose Ilya Sanchez and then lose Atuesta and say, oh, our midfield can just be fine. Like, that's the way that this works. And this is what kind of happens. And maybe MLS loves that, like the chaos of what can happen for 1 week or a couple weeks when something like this happens. But that's just the way it goes. There's not every team is 2 to 3 deep in players, and you got to kind of mix and match. And I would say, though, for what he was set up with to go to Atlanta, Steve did a very good job of mixing and matching. I think one of the biggest things you can take away from that game is, like, he got his man management ideas right and how he wanted to play that team with, as you said, missing Ilya, missing Kamara. Those are big misses, whether you want them in the starting lineup or you just need them to come in and spell guys for minutes in a game that ended up being, honestly, of all games, when you wanted a guy like a good bench to sub in, that game was fucking bananas. Like, there was just total variance, total weirdness, and they still made it out. So that's good for LAFC, but we'll see what it means for the rest of this week.
Darren, if you were me and you saw Ilya crying and you made a big deal about it, and then he was fine the next week, and then he suffered a non-contact injury on the exact same leg the following week after you ate crow the first time, would you then come on and say again he's going to miss a game without even thinking about it the way I did? Or would you have held your tongue a little bit because Vince might bring up a good point that he's being held for smart reasons? Which one would you have done in my position? Because I know what I would have done.
Thank you so much for bringing this up and asking me this question in this moment. Which, of course, the answer here is I would have taken an extra second and thought this through a little bit more. It stands to reason that, well, Vince just said what was on my mind about it. I guess if you're Dolo, I mean,
that's
put
interesting,
yourself
though.
in
You
your
didn't
shoes,
bring it
sure,
up
but
in
put
the
yourself in
post-game.
Dolo's shoes. You know, what would he do? And he would give him rest because it's a long travel date. Yeah, it all makes sense to me, as it did before, of course. But Vince, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Well, I'm glad to know that I'm the one left behind. Last week, we had a debate about what our back line should look like moving forward. And I want to discuss something that I think has gone a bit under the radar this season, at least the last few months. And it's this. Is our defense quietly our best position? On the broadcast, one of the guys, I don't remember who the broadcaster, brought up the fact that no team has scored on us over multiple games. And I did some math. And without counting stoppage time, because I couldn't figure out how much stoppage time was in each match, no one has scored on us in 394 minutes. And again, that isn't counting stoppage time. Since the last time someone has scored on us, we've gone 3-0, 2-0, 3-0, and 1-0. The last goal that was scored against us was in the 56th minute of the Las Vegas Lights game. Hugo also hurt us a few games ago when we were talking shit about him not moving, and he's been having an incredible string of games as our keeper, including blocking a PK against St. Louis that really could have set back that game. And our defense, along with him, has just started to really click at exactly the right time. Darren, why do you think our defense has started to look so good all of a sudden?
Chanot. I think he's the presence back there. I think there's something with Chanot and the way that he plays and the communication that now clearly is happening better than it used to between him and Hugo, and he's just rock solid back there in a way that even if we had the talent back there before, there wasn't like one guy that's rock solid every time, and now there is. And I think that's just made a huge difference. It also seemed like the period of time when our defense was shakiest was also the period of time where we had a lot of trouble getting the ball going and moving the ball out of the backfield. And that doesn't seem to be as big of a problem anymore. I don't really know why. I can't get deeper than that. I'm sure both of you could more than I could.
Vince, of our LAFC defenders in history, who do you think you look more like, Chanot or Saman?
Saman. Hard Saman, yeah, for sure. We have just...
You sure?
Yeah, I think... Because Chanot's just really trying to hang on to what Harry has.
Yeah,
left.
you're right.
Saman was like, I got this. And so I'm Team Saman.
You're
it's
a strong ball.
Hair, though.
I like
know.
a strong ball.
You might be in a little bit of a midpoint situation.
You're like
to do a side by side. Yeah.
If a listener knows how to do a face mash, combine Simon and Chanot and see if you get Vince LaRose.
Yeah.
I'm just upset you didn't bring up my favorite person in the entire world, Giorgio Chiellini, who...
Oh, Giorgio!
I mean, we're both Italian.
Yeah, but you don't look like him.
Lovers of fine wine. And
You
No,
don't look like him.
but I like to think that we're spirit animals.
Who do
What
we
position
look
do you
like?
play?
I generally tried to play more towards the front, but I was the guy that was like, this coach doesn't know what he's talking about, and I was a dick. So I feel like I could play. Like, if you want me to play defense, I'll play defense if that's what we need to do. But generally, I tried to play forward, and I mean, I'm 5'7", guys. You don't see very many 5'7" center backs,
Yeah.
and or even wing backs, really. So I tried to play up higher.
So you're good with authority, is what I'm learning about you. You're always good with authority.
Yeah. Big listener, understand big picture. Yeah.
Darren, who do you think you look most like? And then Vince, I'll ask you about the defense after that. But I'm curious.
I was really hoping you wanted me to like who Darren looks most like.
But yeah, who do you think?
Of
Vince,
course,
who
I'd
do you
say
think
Giorgio
Darren looks
Chiellini.
most like?
He does have a kind of like in the nose and mouth, a little Giorgio.
Yeah, there's some of that.
Yeah, maybe I'm the midpoint between Giorgio and Ilya.
Hollingshead. Oh, Ilya, yeah.
Yeah.
I have kind of like a poor man's Ilya haircut going on.
There's some people on the staff. No.
Team security, Paul.
Yeah.
I don't think I look like anyone on the team.
Yeah, Vince
Does
looks
that mean
more
I
like an
exist?
athlete.
Do
than
I
both of us.
exist if I don't look like someone on LAFC's roster?
You look like the son of the Falconer.
No, he's better looking than me.
Vince, what did Darren miss about the defense? Anything, or was he smart enough to answer the question?
I like Darren's answer, and I agree with a lot of it. I would say the parts that maybe I would add on to it is what luck plays a part in it. I feel like LAFC and their underlying numbers showed this was like they weren't giving up a lot.
I could have said luck.
Yeah, you could have.
Fuck.
Can I just tell you, this is the thing, and I know people don't want to hear this, but like this is a sport of low scoring sport, so luck plays a part, guys. I'm sorry to tell you, but luck is just a thing, and that's maybe why we love it so much and why we lose our mind so much. But
if only there was a
catchphrase
that could sum that up.
Yeah,
there's a couple. There's ball don't lie. There's a lot of.
What about the catchphrase that you have, Vince?
That we've decided you have, that is yours, that we've forced on you.
We did force it on me. They tried to get it out of me in jail, but that's sports.
Yeah.
Don't say that in a holding cell. It just is not going to go well. But no, back to the real answer. Like the underlying numbers, they weren't giving up a lot of chances, not a lot of shots, but it seemed like every mistake they made went in. And I think Chanot plays a part. Getting the ball to your attackers plays a part. Getting a little bit of better luck, which you hope will at the end of the season even out. So LAFC was so bad. They were on such a side of the spectrum and now getting a little bit better. And then I'll say this, for all those people that are like, I don't know what Steve does. I don't understand his tactics. He's a defender. And all of a sudden the defense has been very good lately. Like you have to say they must be doing something. I can't point my finger to it, but all I can say is not only are they winning games, but they're shutting out teams and they're getting clean sheets. And you have to say that they must be prioritizing defense in a way that is doing better for them. And that was the thing. We came into the last couple of weeks saying, oh, yeah, they're playing okay. They're maybe not losing games even before that San Jose game, but they're giving up a lot of goals. And now all of a sudden they're not. So I think whether we know it or not, we have to say at this point in time, the team has prioritized this, and now all of a sudden defense has gotten better. And I think that has to be a big point of emphasis as well.
For sure. So with a hobbled together midfield and a solid back line, we end up at our final storyline of the match week. I've said it twice, which is this. Is Minnesota the most important game of the season so far? And also, do we play Dallas this week? As of Monday night, Minnesota sits second in the West with 25 points, 4 points behind Real Salt Lake, but with 2 games in hand. That means if they continue to play the way that they've been playing, they almost definitely should be in the 1 seed in the West when they make up those games. We are just 1 point behind Minnesota with 24 points, but they also have a game in hand on us. So if anyone doesn't know what that means, all that means is we've played less games and it'll be made up over time. I feel like we were supposed to be the gateway drug and we've started using soccer terms. Game in hand just means they have 1 extra game to play to make points up. So depending on how Wednesday goes, we could end up swinging either into second in the West or catapult Minnesota even closer to first place while taking down someone close to them. All time against Minnesota, we're dead even with 3 wins, 3 losses, and 5 draws. Vince, Why is Minnesota so good this season, seemingly out of nowhere? And also, do you know if we play Dallas?
I've heard rumors. I believe that will show up. I will be interested to see if a different team shows up. But let's go to
There should be
Minnesota.
surprise games where you don't know who your opponent is.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
Like a
that be
Kinder
something?
Surprise
that'd be
egg.
fun.
Yeah, like a grab bag. Like for sure you're gonna be home, but we've told some team that they'll be showing up to see you. That would actually be interesting. I would like that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
It's like
they
the
should
Secret
have a
Santa for
whole-
MLS.
An international tournament where
Yeah.
you don't even know the league the team's coming from, and you get on a
Ooh.
plane, you get on a private plane as a member of a team, and they don't tell you where you're going. And
Or
when
you
you
could
land,
just have it all at third party sites.
Yeah, I was gonna
Like
say,
it's all
fuck it.
neutral locations.
No home and away. That's how to really judge how
Yeah.
good teams are. You get no crowd. We just show up and you're in the middle of Dubai and it's LAFC versus Real Madrid and you don't know why you're there. By the way,
Kinder Surprise Cup.
you also traveled with veils over your head. You didn't get like you really didn't know where you're going.
This is a great idea.
kidnapped
We
cup.
should talk to Don Garber.
Yeah, this could be the new FIFA World Club Cup.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to it. Dallas, yes, we definitely we're gonna play them. We'll get to see Sebastian Ibiaga, who I think a lot of people should give a good standing ovation to, or whatever you want to do. I mean, Sebastian's was a. I think about this, guys. We played like that playoffs in 2022, and Giorgio Chiellini didn't play much. It was Sebastian Ibiaga. He started the final. He went the full time in the final, and like he was very good and very deservingly got a raise and moved on somewhere else. So I like Sebastian Ibiaga. Also, stylish man. I enjoy his fits. About Minnesota, I don't know. Honestly, and I'm not the only one. I don't think anyone knows how good this Minnesota team really is. Like they're losing. Their best player is Emmanuel Reynoso, a guy that like decided, oh, when does the season start? I'm going to stay in Argentina for a little bit. And then he showed up and then he was there and he played one
I
game. By
forgot
the way,
about this.
his one appearance is against LAFC in a win against LAFC at Minnesota. And then he went back to Argentina and they're like, okay, hey, finish out getting your green card. That'll help us. Guess what? Just didn't want to get on the plane a couple times. And now he's back and then he's going to leave again. And they're still good. And they're good at home. They're good away from home. They're the best team away from home in the West. So I don't know what to make of them. So I think it's important in the way of this. Actually, I want to flip it, Travis. I think this is the most important game for Minnesota. Traveling to LAFC.
Interesting.
And if they can get a result against LAFC, I think we'll say, okay, this team is for real. They're kind of moving on from Reynoso, and they beat LAFC, who is now definitely coming into form. But if
And
LAFC
we're unbeaten at home.
yeah, and unbeaten at home. But if LAFC gets a win, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, Minnesota's gonna crash back. I think we're all just kind of waiting for Minnesota to, like, I don't think that they're bad, but I don't think that they're this good.
You think there's a chance they're a fraud?
Yeah, a fraud in the sense of they're not top contenders in the West. Are they a playoff team? Possibly. I mean, they have good young talent and they have a smart coach, but are they this good? I don't think so. But I think Wednesday is going to be a very good litmus test of that.
Darren, what do you know about this fabled FC Dallas? Do you believe that it exists? Are you a believer?
I keep hearing that there's like multiple teams in Texas. There's all these teams. I know there's Austin.
Mm-hmm. Houston.
Yep, Houston. That's right.
Yeah.
Darren, do you know what FC Dallas's name was? Like MLS 1.0? What their what the
Should
original?
I pretend not to? I do know.
Do you know? Well, it's
Yeah,
a fun
Dallas
name.
Burn.
Yeah, there we go.
Dallas
baby.
Burn.
Burn.
They still
baby.
have. Don't they still have kits that have like little flames on them?
Yes.
Guy Fieri,
But they
kits?
used to have a horse just spewing
Yeah.
flames.
They had the Denver scary airport horse on their jersey.
Oh, and now they have a stadium with just like a truck shoots flames.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
once
now they have a
scores.
stadium that you go there anytime in the summer and you light on fire because there's no cover. It's just an open stadium in the
Yeah.
middle of Dallas because that's a good idea.
Wow.
I did see Giroud was talking about coming to MLS, and he said he talked to Zlatan about anything he should know, and he said try not to have heat stroke in Texas in the summer. I thought that
Whoa.
was really funny.
Yeah.
I
also
also
where the
love
Soccer Hall of Fame is now, which makes complete sense.
why
In Dallas?
Yeah, Lamar Hunt.
they should
baby.
call it the Football Hall of Fame just to upset
Lamar Hunt, baby. Lamar Hunt rules all American soccer.
Yeah,
Is
he's the
Lamar
puppet
Hunt in
master.
Dallas? What's he doing in Dallas?
He the Lamar Hunt is the original owner of FC Dallas,
I
of
thought he
Dallas
was a
Burn.
KC person.
Oh, he owned a lot of teams, baby.
Oh, just everything. Okay.
Yeah.
We got to do a deep dive investigation into Lamar Hunt.
We
Something's
do.
up. Something's
Something's up with
wrong.
Lamar Hunt.
Dallas is playing pretty poorly. We're playing the game at home. That's sort of why I'm dancing around talking about them. But anything we should know about Dallas as well, Vince, before we move on with the show? I just wasn't all that excited about talking about them.
Yeah, they're not exciting. Dallas is interesting in the sense of this. They were really bad to start the season, like just absolutely abject, and they've been okay-ish. They've had some ties. They've actually, I think they're unbeaten over maybe like the last 5 games, which is good, but there's a lot of ties in there. So their poor start of the season has kept them very, very low. They very much, like in the way that we think Minnesota might be worse than they are, Dallas very well may be better than they are.
Interesting.
Didn't they just tie RSL?
They did.
Yeah, they almost beat them.
In a wild game. Yeah.
Yeah, they were up 3-0. So that suggests they're not great.
It's a good start, and then when you give up, it's like where do you give the credit? You're like, man, you were up 3-0 on RSL, and their RSL is very good. You're like, yeah, but also we gave that up. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about that.
Well, those are our storylines for this match week. Third time's the charm. When we come back, we're gonna play a game.
And we're back. Well, it's our 4th week in a row with a midweek match and our first week with 2 league matches. And while we're lucky enough to host both at BMO, we're looking at a whirlwind of culture shock here with visitors from the North and South Poles of the United States, respectively. That's the state of Minnesota and the country of Dallas. And if you're like me, and most people, because I'm extremely normal, you're always getting the two confused. Which is why it's time we finally get to the bottom of which is which in another self-explanatory trivia game called Minnesota or Dallas.
Can I just say before we start, like people tell me they're like, I love the games, and I was like, this is all Darren, and I just thought of this now. Darren, do you feel like you're the Merv Griffin of this podcast? Like you just come
It's
up with
becoming
good
that
games
way
for our podcast?
I think the games honestly started with Travis, and I was just doing a Travis doing trivia games imitation at first.
Yeah, but
then it became like, yeah, I'll make a trivia game. Let's do it.
And for most of the people listening, look up Merv Griffin. I think, are we allowed? Is he canceled?
Are we allowed to look up?
I don't
Merv
think
Griffin?
he's canceled. I think if you're dead, you can't be canceled anymore.
You can still Google someone.
I'm just saying, I think he did okay, but he's definitely a game show guy.
Are we allowed? Wait, are we allowed to Google Bill Cosby? Can we Google Bill Cosby?
Do people like these even? Like, these are fun to make and fun to do, I think. But like, I do when I finish one of these, I'm like, was this anything? I'll ask again at the end of this after we play.
The Loudon episode, I got more than a couple comments of how awesome that game was and how much not only they learned, but they thought it was very funny. I was like, oh,
why are they telling Darren? Darren did the work. Why are they telling you?
Well, because I'm a man of the people, and a lot more people know me.
That's true.
And I would say
this. I don't go to games.
I asked them, and I said, oh, yeah, Travis and we had some pretty good responses. They said, absolutely not you guys. It was the game. So I will say it was definitely Darren.
Hell yeah. Well, that makes me feel great.
It's me and Vince.
Just good. Thank you for setting a bar that I now may or may not clear.
I also mind fucked you by doing this, and I knew that would happen as well.
This one was a weird premise. I don't know if it is going to work. It's just, is it the
Dallas
team we're playing on
Minnesota
Wednesday or the team we're playing on Saturday?
There isn't really not related. I'm excited. The dumbest ones are the best ones.
That's it. We just have to say Dallas or Minnesota. That's it. Yep. Okay.
All right, Darren. How do you want to play? You're the game master. You're the Brandon Lee Mulligan.
The Dungeon Master, is that what they call him?
Oh boy, The bar just keeps getting higher and higher.
Okay, how you choose how you want us to play, Darren? Then
well, we've been switching lately. Let's switch. Okay, so Vince.
So meaning you're gonna. Okay, great.
Yes, they started their first season in the league by conceding 18 goals in their first 4 games, which was an MLS record through the first 6 games. Was it Minnesota or Dallas?
Absolutely Minnesota.
That is correct. Travis, the name of their mascot is PK. Is it Minnesota or Dallas?
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's Dallas because the mascot for Minnesota is a loon and a loon named PK.
Oh,
We'll say Dallas.
That is incorrect. It is, in fact, a loon named PK. What were you going to say it is? Lame?
Well, it doesn't
Wait.
it doesn't track. There's no connection.
That's correct.
Is there a question about the name of the Dallas? Do you have the Dallas?
Do you know it, Vince?
I actually don't remember if I do. I might.
I'm just saying it's probably like Burner or something stupid.
Yeah, Bernie.
It is something
I'm a Bernie
that stupid.
bro.
Vince, one of their official supporter groups is called the Blank Beer Guardians. Is it Dallas or Minnesota?
It is Minnesota because I've been to Minnesota Stadium and you should go. It's a great stadium and they have the biggest, I believe, in-stadium bar of any team in MLS.
And yet, still, that is incorrect. It is Dallas.
Oh,
I was about to call foul that Vince knows all of these answers.
but also it is true that Minnesota has a very large bar at one of the end of their stadiums, which like has like 30 taps.
That just goes to show how intertwined these two places
These two
are and why it's so
cities are.
important that we're doing a game like this
It's hard
to
it's
uncover
hard to say.
what is going on here.
Okay.
They're
And
just
I
so
assume
linked.
all 30 taps are Modelo because that's all I want to drink.
No, they're
And
all
I know
blue.
that's all-
They're all Blue Moon.
Ugh.
Wait, speaking of, I brought this up the other day. Remember when Blue Moon convinced us all to put an orange in our drink?
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, we'll do that. But then all of us woke up. Like, I don't know how it happened, but we all just simultaneously, as if a chip in our brain was like, by the way, what you're drinking is shit. We all stopped. That was
It
the
was
thing,
that.
right? Am I the
Shock
only one
Top,
that felt
too.
that?
No, it
Oh, yeah,
was
Shock Top.
Shock Top was also around then, and it was another wheat beer that wanted you to put an orange in your beer. And like I think a couple of things happened, but the thing that got me to hate Blue Moon first was realizing that it wasn't a craft beer. Both of those beers were owned by a major company, and they convinced us that they were a craft beer in like the height of the craft beer thing. But like, I never liked wheat beer, so it never was that big of a deal.
Is
Yeah.
an orange in a Belgian beer a thing
It must be.
outside of those brands?
Ask Modelo Gandalf; he would know.
All I know is if we went to Belgium and we're like, can I have an orange? I feel like we would be beaten.
Fucking Americans again.
Yeah, let's get these fucking losers.
All right, who's up? Travis? Between the Twin Cities and Dallas, the cost of living is 9% lower in Dallas or Minnesota.
Dallas.
It is Minnesota. Incorrect.
Minnesota is cheaper than Dallas?
Yeah.
Interesting. I would much rather live in the Twin Cities. Let's
A
keep
lot
going.
more- But a lot more people move into Texas lately, as of late.
Well, I thought it was because the property value was cheaper.
People won't want their guns, Travis.
All right, Vince. At one time, MLS created songs for every club, which in and of itself is worthy of an episode. And this team's anthem was performed by the Polyphonic Spree. Is it Minnesota or Dallas?
I feel like it's got to be Minnesota. Polyphonic Spree, no way they're related to Dallas.
That is incorrect. It is Dallas.
Oh, no. What? Why?
The Polyphonic Spree is from Dallas?
Minnesota and Dallas, Travis, Minnesota and Dallas's average attendance this season is less
Wait,
than 3. What?
Can we
we go
Google
back-
Polyphonic Spree or are they canceled? Can we Google it? If
They
you
may
don't
or
know
may not come
Polyphonic-
up later, so I don't want to
Okay,
dwell on it.
Okay,
okay.
just say 30 people of men and women, and
Yeah.
they're related to Dallas?
Yeah, there's a lot of
Utah,
people in
maybe.
Texas. Okay, Travis, Minnesota and Dallas's average attendance this season is less than 300 apart, which another thing that is just like, there's connections here. There's something going on.
Well, 0 to 300. I mean,
But whose is higher?
I'm going to say it's hard. My heart says more people are going to Minneapolis games, but it's been the winter. And I bet Dallas has a slightly higher average attendance.
That is incorrect. It's Minnesota.
I'm so bad at these games.
Do you want to guess what it is?
it's tickets sold, baby. You got to you remember.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, they always judge it by tickets sold. I would imagine that Minnesota has even a higher just season ticket holder fan base, which gives them an advantage.
Well, it's
I'm
also
gonna
like,
guess
would you rather freeze or
13,000 something.
burn alive?
Yeah, I think Minnesota's just to help you, Travis. I think Minnesota has like 18,000 that fits in that stadium.
All right, so I'd say average attendance 13,000. Like it's right.
Vince, that is incorrect. It was not a question, and yet still,
How much is
average
in
attendance for Minnesota? It's just over 20,000, and the average
Oh,
attendance
shit.
is 19,386.
No, that's
Oh.
bullshit.
Really? A lot of people want to sing Wonderwall,
For a bonus, yeah.
which makes you wonder.
Yeah. For a bonus, do you want to guess LAFC's in comparison?
Oh, what their average attendance is right now?
Yeah.
We don't give real numbers. We all know we don't give the real number.
Well, no one does.
Well,
But it's always 22,000, right?
Sorry,
We
it's
get-
not even tickets sold. It's tickets distributed, which is even more fun.
Yeah.
So LAFC, I want to say, is 22,000.
Yeah, I think we always say 22,000 no matter what.
It's 22,138.
Yeah, which is probably the exact number of seats in the
Capacity.
stadium.
And yet, I'm pretty sure we can all say it's been the least attended season so far.
Maybe.
If you're listening from LAFC, I didn't say that.
I don't think it's been the least attended
Me as
season.
well. You can't
I
get
would
me
say-
any more in trouble than I already am. So
To me, I would say it looks like the average attendance is around 22,138 people.
yeah, probably
Yeah.
like bigger than SoFi.
Oh, Darren has been hired to be the new Vince suddenly.
Yeah.
Okay, Vince. Their home kit is a 1 out of 10, and their away kit is a 3 out of 10. Minnesota or Dallas?
I know the answer.
It's both. Dallas.
That's correct. It's Dallas.
Yeah, you wouldn't give the star
Look it up.
kit 3
That's
out of
right. That's objective.
Yeah, it's not my favorite, but it's not that bad.
10. Yeah,
Which one?
the star kit for
The star
Minnesota.
kit.
Yeah, that one I think is at least like debatable. Like I
You would
really
give
don't
it a
like it, but I
6
get why
at
people
least.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand. Like they probably love the kit that Travis is wearing.
See, that sucks because like now it's like, why do you say that? That says "Love Unites." Is that really what it says?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but in like
It's
a
like
Star
a
Wars
Power
font.
Rangers font.
Oh, I was honestly gonna say it looks like Star Wars, but also because it looks tilted, yet it's front on, like Star Wars.
Mhm.
You know, because it's going back into the thing.
Yeah, it's got
yeah.
like the parallelogram thing.
Yeah.
Also,
Like,
I hate a
it's like-
V-neck.
Okay, Travis.
More collars back. I think soccer needs more collars back.
Oh, I like the.
I was sad that Miami got rid of theirs. I liked their color.
Yeah, collars fun.
Travis, we're playing Minnesota on Wednesday and Dallas on Saturday. And the Minnesota Timberwolves were currently this week playing the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Western Conference Finals. What a fun little coincidence is a reaction you're more likely to have as an average person from which place, Minnesota or Dallas?
Minnesota.
That's
for
correct,
sure.
Minnesota.
100%.
Oh, what a fun little coincidence.
Oh, we have a basketball team?
We're back in Belgium.
Yeah,
Earlier this
yeah.
year.
What's a Minnesota? It's like, oh, okay. It's like,
Yeah, like don't you know?
don't you know? There
yeah.
you go. Bobby's
Yeah.
World. Bobby's World. Don't you know?
What's his name was Bobby, right?
Howie Mandel.
Yeah, Howie Mandel.
Can we Google Howie Mandel or is he?
Are we allowed to Google Howie Mandel? Can you do that? Vince, earlier this year, everyone's favorite finance website, Wallet Hub, examined every city in America based on 29 key indicators of happiness, ranging from the depression rate to the income growth rate to average leisure time spent per day. Who ranked higher? And to cement your legend, what was the gap between the two?
It's Dallas because they're lying to themselves how much they love their guns.
No.
And the percentage gap was 7%.
That is incorrect. Travis, do you want to steal?
I got to be honest, wasn't listening.
Yeah, that's fair.
What was my
I
question?
heard Wallet Hub and my brain turned off.
That's the actual correct answer.
And you win.
Wouldn't it have been great if I had written down I heard Wallet Hub and my brain turned off as the right answer?
Yes. It's like the It's Always Sunny when they go on Family Feud and Charlie's like, it's Dragon. And like no one's, and it's always like one person and it keeps being the right answer. And then at the end, he's like, I remember I did a survey one time and they're like, yes, you do.
That's really funny. I missed that one. Okay, Minneapolis was 13 on the list, and Dallas was 132.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone
So
want to
Gun-
guess LA?
So Gun's
I
not
wrote
that
that
good.
one
LA is higher than
Oh.
Dallas for sure.
No, 195.
I'm gonna say 61 for LA.
Oh, damn, 64.
I was
wow.
close.
That was very
Hell yeah.
close.
Fucking
Okay.
Fucking liars. I know these people. They're lying.
Travis, which team's kit sponsor has had a larger impact on the health of children in the United States? Minnesota's Target or FC Dallas's Children's Health?
Target for all the bullshit that they put in their bodies.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I don't actually know the answer to this one. I think that's a good answer, I think. Yeah.
I thought I was
All
predicting the trick question. It's very funny to be like, I don't know the answer.
right.
This one's going
Sorry.
to really be testing if people like the games or not.
Yeah, it really is. It's just
we'll
really
see.
fucked around
Yeah,
on
we'll
this
see.
one. I fucked around so we can all find out, you know?
Mhm.
That's right. It is, in fact, the final.
Yes!
Do you have random soundboard buttons? Like,
No, that one is
That's
for
the-
the Venmo vet it and forget it.
Yeah, if
oh,
you
so
win,
you have to
edit and
set it
forget
up. I was about to
Yeah.
ask you, do you have like burps and fart noises, like, or what?
I would have so many more up here, but there's a limited amount on Zencaster, so I can't do
Got
what
it.
I want to do. But yes, I wish we had more sound.
Which is by
Peek
what you
behind the
want to
curtain.
do is farts.
Look, I'm not going to confirm or deny that, but
We're on thin ice, inching ever closer to morning radio as it is.
all right. Final question.
Okay. I'll name the famous music act. You tell me where they're from. Vince, Bob Dylan.
Minnesota.
Travis, Polyphonic. That's correct. Travis, Polyphonic Spree.
Dallas.
That's correct. Vince, Prince.
Minnesota.
We're starting easy. That's right. Travis, Demi Lovato.
Dallas.
That's correct. Vince, The Replacements.
Minnesota.
That's correct. Travis, St. Vincent.
Dallas.
That's correct. Vince, Kelly Clarkson.
Dallas.
That's correct. Travis, The Chicks.
Dallas.
That is correct. Vince, Husker Du.
Minnesota. You're naming all bands that like I actually like, so this has been good.
Didn't we also already do? We did a Minnesota music game last time.
We did one
played.
that included like a few of these. Yeah.
Husker Du and the Hold Steady are related. That's why I know Husker Du.
Ah, yeah. Travis, Marcy Playground.
Oh, Sex and Candy. That's got to be Dallas.
Incorrect. That's Minnesota.
First incorrect answer.
Is that the first one wrong?
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are on a roll. Okay. Vince, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Dallas.
That's correct. Travis, confident ding on that one. You knew. Travis, Nora Jones.
Minnesota.
Incorrect. It's Dallas.
Ah.
Vince, Atmosphere.
Atmosphere. I heard that about Atmosphere. So.
You got to know about Atmosphere. You're really telling on yourself on this one.
Minnesota.
That is correct. Unfortunately, you know that
Very
one.
white. The whitest a man could be.
Yeah, it left a bad taste in my mouth.
Travis.
Atmosphere. I'm going to listen to Atmosphere after we're done.
Please don't.
It's like if Eminem was white.
Wait, what?
Oh,
Travis,
I haven't heard the
Selena
name
Gomez.
Atmosphere. Like, you know when you hear something that like you haven't thought of in a long time and it just scratches an itch in your brain? I really felt like a pleasure explosion at the musician Atmosphere.
That was 100% my intention. I went through this whole thing when I was making the thing.
Who did you say?
Selena Gomez.
Gomez? We'll say Dallas.
That's correct. Vince, Semisonic.
Minnesota. They just feel so Minnesota.
Yeah, they certainly do, and that's correct.
My first
Travis.
concert was Semisonic.
No, really?
It was Semisonic
Wow.
opening for Matchbox 20, which is the most
Holy-
of my time
Wow.
period. Yeah.
So they aren't the
Holy
same
shit.
band.
Yeah.
You
Soul
got proof.
Asylum also was on there.
Wow. A lot of white people
Wow.
there.
hmm
Okay, Atmosphere.
Sorry. Yeah, my bad.
Who's next? Travis.
Travis.
Leanne Rhymes.
Dallas.
That's correct. Vince, Erica Badu.
Ooh, Dallas.
That's correct. Travis, Lizzo.
Dallas.
Incorrect. It's Minnesota. Can we Google Lizzo? Are we allowed to?
Yeah, she was just mean.
Okay.
She's Ellen canceled. You know, it's not real.
Okay. Vince, Post Malone.
Dallas.
That's correct. Travis, Vanilla Ice.
Minnesota.
No, it's Dallas.
Oh my God, I'm getting killed.
Vince, Judy Garland.
Minnesota.
That's correct. Travis, Usher.
Now I'm second guessing everything. Dallas.
That's correct. And finally, last but not least, Vince, where is Meatloaf from?
Oh, Meatloaf's got to be from Minnesota.
That's incorrect.
Oh no!
Dallas.
Damn it!
Bonus
I'm
question. How
declaring
many
myself the
people
winner.
Are in Polyphonic Spree. That, without
30
going over.
32.
Is the number of people in Polyphonic Spree more or less than the average attendance of FC Dallas?
This is a sincere question. Do you think more than one member of the Polyphonic Spree have died?
Oh, I don't know. That's a dark question.
I feel like, yeah, there were so many people. The whole point
must
was
have
that there
been.
were a lot of people, and they were kind of old. Like there was a range. I'm gonna say at least 2 members have died,
I
but
was gonna
that's for
say,
our listeners to figure
Does disappeared count?
out. Yeah,
Oh, fuck. Was Polyphonic Spree a cult or?
they like
Just the
That's
they
band.
presented.
another good question.
I think it was like part of it. You remember how Tattoo they pretended to be like incest sisters? I think Polyphonic Spree pretended to be a cult for the sake of whatever.
The
Selling
sake
records.
of their weird like robes and all the other shit that they did. One good song though,
Yeah.
which is more to say than for the 3 of us.
Darren, who
true.
won? Who won, Darren?
I don't know. I wasn't keeping track that whole time.
I
Vince
slaughtered
crushed
you.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I crushed you.
The second week in a row, Vince wins.
I will say
Ugh.
somehow it fell to me some of the easier ones. Like honestly, Travis, if I was
That's the
like
downside of-
Stevie Ray Vaughan, Texas or anywhere else, you'd be like, his name is Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, he's a guitarist. I after Nora Jones, I remembered I should have remembered that like her first video, there was like cowboy hat and cowboy imagery in there. So I should have got Nora Jones, but
Yeah.
she feels like Minnesota. you
There's
know?
a
That
classic move if you're from around there and you're appealing to that, even if you're like singer songwriter, not quite country, but you're like, look, I'm still one of you. It's just a different
Yeah.
kind of music.
That helped
All
me
right.
with Post Malone. He's been wearing a lot of cowboy boots recently, and I was like, yep, Dallas.
I would have guessed Minnesota for Post Malone. So I'm happy you got that. one.
Initially I thought, but then I was like, no, it's Dallas. He's going hard on the cowboy. It's a swerve for his career. I feel it.
Well, that was our game. Vince won. Darren, another incredible job by you. When we
you so
come
much.
back, we play Bet It and Forget It.
And we're back. Now it's time for a segment called Bet It and Forget It.
Bet it and forget it.
Thanks so much to Travis for being on the soundboard tonight. Really, best
I wish I had that
best
one.
DJ'd episode we've ever had, I think.
It would be better if you were just doing it all with your mouth, like the guy from Police Academy.
It has been. It's been an intense job tonight. Every
Mustard
week
on the beat. Hope.
Can we Google
Travis
the guy
on the beat. Hope.
Can we Google the guy from Police Academy?
Michael Winslow.
Probably not. Yeah,
that's a
but we're what we're talking
Oh,
about.
can we
Let's
Google
go.
it?
The show's running long. Let's go.
new- Sorry.
For the amount of soccer talk at a minimum this week.
How many people on Happy Foot Sad Foot have disappeared? Every week, we end the show with a bet for this week's game. We make an outlandish
Bet it and
prediction.
forget it.
We make an outlandish prediction, something that almost definitely will not happen, but could. Each week, Travis and I put up $5, and now Vince does because he won once. I think. I don't know if we're peer
Yeah.
pressuring him into that.
I
Money
actually
rolls over to the next
I haven't
week.
cashed it. I'm just holding on to that money just in case.
Nice. Okay. If no one hits, money rolls over to the next week. Eventually, by the time someone's weird prediction comes true, they might win a good chunk of change. None of our bets cashed last week, so I believe our bet pool for the week is now $30. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, last week I predicted that Loudon would score on a bicycle kick. That did not happen.
Good choice.
That did not happen.
I predicted Kai Kamara would have at least a brace versus Loudon.
There was 2 games last week, Darren. How many games was Kai Kamara on the, let's say, team?
I believe 0. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tough
Yeah,
time.
it's pretty far from getting
Yeah.
it.
And I thought an academy kid would score. That was mine. And Duenas was out for one of the games. Like they just really kind of cut my chances in half as well.
Well,
Yeah.
I have a bet that I'm very confident in this week. Very
Oh,
confident. And
okay.
I don't say that often.
Oh.
And it's this. In one of the 2 games, we will see a goal from one of the players that has been out the last couple games. So we'll see a goal from Sanchez, Kai Kamara, or David Martinez. We'll see a goal from one of the 3 of
Wow.
them in either of the games. We don't even know if they're going to play. That's why this is so outlandish.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we've got no updates on David Martinez's back, besides Vince implying that it might be a behavioral issue a month ago. And then Kai Kamara.
I saw,
but then he was out so long. I love people that are like, "How could your back hurt you that bad?" I was like, "Have you guys not hurt your back? Your back could keep you out a long time."
I just went to a chiropractor for my back today because it's been hurting for 2 months.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care what age you are. David Martinez is obviously I think 20 years old now. Your back, if it's hurt, it's a big deal.
But that's my bet. I'm sticking to it.
I almost want my bet, and this isn't fair, but I want to be like Ilie starts on Wednesday just to needle Travis. That's
honestly,
like
that's a good
too
bet.
low. Yeah, but that's too low. The bar's too low.
Wow, that's confidence.
What about starts both games? So he doesn't even need to be rotated.
But if he starts Wednesday, he's just that type of guy, right? Like if he's
not gonna
available, I gotta think. Okay. Darren, you go. I gotta think of another one, but I wanted to do that just to needle you, Travis, a little bit.
I'm getting. I'll say this. I think it's gotta wait till next match, but I'm getting the itch to do the Hugo assist bet again. It's feeling like it's that time. I'm feeling it. Okay, here's my bet. The back line, including Lloris, they will have at least 1 goal and 1 assist.
Yes, great.
And mine will be playing off yours in a way. Ryan Hollingshead came back, played against Atlanta. He obviously will take on his old team on Saturday. I don't know if it'll be on Saturday, but Ryan Hollingshead will score a goal. And I'll just to make it a little bit more interesting, I will say it will be off a set piece. Although that's not really risking much because he's very good on set pieces. But he hasn't done it yet this year. Ryan Hollingshead, goal on a set piece in one of the games.
Return to form from the mustache himself. Well, we shall see. That's our show. Our theme music is done by the insane team of James Valentine, Nate Walcott, and Louis Palmer. You could subscribe to our YouTube channel where all of our episodes and clips are available in video form at youtube.com/@HappyFootSadFoot. You can review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and you can follow us on all social media. And if you made it this far into the episode and you don't already, please consider becoming a friend of the foot at $5 a month at patreon.com/HappyFootSadFoot. Or if you can't afford that, just tell a friend about the show and let them know that we're good and that maybe they should give us $5. You can also pick up some Half O's Half O inspired merch by going to happyfootsadfootpod.com. Any support really goes a long way to keeping the community growing and the show going. And those scarves flying off the shelf, I'll look it up for next episode. We don't got many left, so if you want a scarf and you're a Patreon member,
have a few.
I suggest going to happyfootsadfootpod.com and picking up your member-only scarf. Thanks again, and we'll see you at BMO, baby. I love you. Bye.
I love you. Bye.
Vince?
Oh, do I have to do the catchphrase every time?